This is BTV, Business Television.
Hello, I'm Taylor Tone.
And I'm Jessica Kaczmarchak. Welcome to BTV Business Television.
This week on BTV, we shine a light on some high-grade investment opportunities,
including one with a project in a promising frontier for gold exploration in South America.
Our capital efficiency really kind of puts us ahead of a lot of our competitors.
We visit an emerging copper developer with big ambitions.
Our ultimate goal here is to move this into commercial production and grow a solid mid-tier mining company.
We highlight a resource company that's taken its technical know-how to the Sierra Madre Gold Belt in Mexico.
We are really the first operators that have sole focus on developing this property.
We celebrate America's newest uranium producer.
If you want to look at a business opportunity that's maybe akin to being able to invest in the oil industry in 1920, we're a good investment.
And we follow a gold story so compelling, it lured in a CEO who was happily retired.
Ticks all the boxes for anyone who's wanting a major gold producer.
All this and more ahead on BTV Business Television.
The Guiana Shield, which runs through the country of Suriname in northeast South America, is a relatively new and promising frontier for gold exploration. That's where you'll find the Antino Gold Project, which Founders Metals acquired in 2023. After decades of small-scale artisanal production, the property has produced over 500,000 ounces of gold. But it's the strong evidence of the property's multi-million-ounce potential that has founders really excited.
The scale of this is what initially attracted us to this project. We've already had a lot of success with the exploration drilling work that we've been doing, and there's a lot of targets still to be tested. We've only at this point, even with the historic work, explored about a third of the 20,000 hectares we have. So there's potential for some significant discoveries out there, and that's what we want to get into.
There are two major mines within Suriname. One is the Rosebell deposit, which is formerly operated by IAMGOLD and now Zijin, which is a 13.7 million ounce gold deposit. The other is Marion Mine, which is run by Newmont. Those two mines are important for two reasons. They established Suriname as a stable jurisdiction with the presence of major mining companies, and they also give evidence to the fact of this being a major, prolific gold jurisdiction with the attention of some of the world's largest gold mining companies.
Founders started with a historical database that included 32,000 meters of drilling, data that has proven to be a valuable guide for the company's renewed exploration efforts.
To date, we've drilled over 10,000 meters. We've done 2 large geophysical surveys in the main prospect areas of Upper Antino and Buese. We have done an extensive detailed mapping program within all of the high-profile targets, and we've also done a lot of trenching, augering, and sampling throughout the property.
Much of Founders' exploration work is greatly facilitated by nearby labs that can provide lightning-fast analysis of assay samples. The benefits this provides is further enhanced by a key purchase the company recently made.
We decided to purchase our own drilling equipment when we started this project because it gave us a lot more flexibility in terms of the pace of exploration, but it also brought the cost down quite a lot. We're currently looking at around $160 per meter Canadian all in.
Our capital efficiency really kind of puts us ahead of a lot of our competitors. We're talking about half to less than a third of what an exploration program would cost in northern Canada or a lot of other jurisdictions.
Founders is also benefiting from other key advantages that the Antino property offers.
The Antino Gold Project was a turnkey operation. Basically, all the infrastructure was already on site. There's a 1.3 kilometer airstrip, 45 minutes and $100, you're on site. The property also has 3 ports, which we can use to mobilize all of our equipment. The property also has an enormous amount of heavy equipment, and due to the historical artisanal production, there is roads and trails connecting the entire project to all the different exploration prospects.
Together, these advantages are helping to propel the company as they head into a new year.
The 2024 program right now is fully funded for up to 30,000 meters of drilling. We expect to continue work on the Froyo Gold Trend, as well as other targets here in Upper Antino, and we'll also be looking to do some drilling further afield in the Buese area.
A recent OTC listing in the U.S. will help expose founders to a larger market and allow more investors to be part of an exciting exploration story.
Coming up on BTV, more emerging companies to follow.
With the pre-feasibility study, this is the first time we'll actually be declaring reserves which are actually economically viable.
We'll be right back. You're watching BTV.
With the uncertainty in the markets, TD Asset Management is highlighting 2 dividend exchange traded funds designed to mitigate risk and generate the potential for better returns.
Dividend ETFs typically are targeting investors who seek income generation as opposed to strict growth. There's plenty of dividend ETFs out there. Many of them are passive. They follow a specific dividend index. The objective of our ETFs is through a quantitative approach to identify companies, high-quality dividend payers that are likely to not only paying dividends right now, but that are likely to be able to sustain their dividends going forward. Quantitative investing, as opposed to discretionary investing, is really about building a systematic approach to stock selection. And this systematic approach will be based on empirical evidence, so it will be a data-driven approach as opposed to being a belief-driven approach. So we build models that will analyze historical data to figure out what's the best investment strategy for the future.
With few new copper mines coming online in an escalating demand environment, it's a great time to be an emerging lower-risk copper developer. That's especially true if you're located on private land in Arizona, which produced over 70% of the U.S. domestic copper supply in 2022. And that's where the Arizona Sonoran Copper Company is active at its Cactus Mine project, a brownfield property that checks a lot of boxes.
Initially, when I did my analysis on this project, I saw that it had very few obstacles to first production. Given that it was a former producing mine, it came with water rights to the year 2070. It has access to water in the ground in a natural aquifer. There's a main power line that runs right through the property. We have road and rail infrastructure immediately on our southern border. And very importantly, the city of Casa Grande, which is only 5 kilometers to the east, gives us a very strong social license and would like to see the mine come back into production.
While the existing infrastructure provides a huge advantage, it's the property's resource that's most impressive. 5.2 billion pounds of copper in the measured and indicated category and 2.2 billion inferred. In addition to these promising resource numbers, Arizona Sonoran's new pre-feasibility study declares 3 billion pounds of reserve to calculate a 21-year mine life.
I think the key with the recent PFS is that it brings scale to the opportunity. I think it's well regarded as a very robust project, but now it checks an additional box, which is critical scale that you also need to really get investors interested to drive the market forward.
The company may have their much-awaited oxide-focused pre-feasibility study in hand, but they have no intention of slowing down.
We currently have 3 drills which are operational at the site. Those will continue to drill a property called Mainspring, which is not included in this pre-feasibility study. But our goal would be to bring that into an updated PFS sometime before the end of the year. And of course, we're still drilling metallurgical core, which ultimately will be handed over to Newton.
Newton is part of the mining giant Rio Tinto's copper division that has developed a new copper sulfite leaching technology. Newton is working with the company to test the leachability of the Cactus primary sulfites. If successful, Arizona Sonoran may be able to gain access to pounds that are excluded from the recent pre-feasibility study.
It's a bio-leach operation which really allows us to extract ore from the primary sulfide. It's a part of our ore body that exists today that we just can't extract economically based on the existing technology, but with their technology, we can bring to life that primary sulfide through this bioleach process and add materially to the life of the asset.
All of this work to date is only the beginning of an ambitious journey forward for the company.
Our ultimate goal here is to move this into commercial production and grow a solid mid-tier mining company out of the heartland of the Arizona Copper Belt.
We've had tremendous success organically growing the company. We're going to continue to focus on that organic growth.
With the pre-feasibility study now released and the next study already underway, this promises to be a transformative year for Arizona Sonoran.
Coming up on BTV, more investment opportunities you don't want to miss.
We continue to see the potential to add millions of ounces gold equivalent in high grade.
And later in the show,
Nuclear is in its infancy in terms of widespread acceptance and utilization, and we're at the ground floor with decades of assets.
We'll be right back. You're watching BTV.
the Sierra Madres in Mexico is where you'll find Prime Mining's flagship property, Los Reyes. Surrounded by titans of the mining industry, CEO Scott Hicks explains how their property still stands out.
The land package at Los Reyes was consolidated by a previous owner, and Prime Mining is focused on trying to use best-in-class exploration techniques to prove up the immense potential on the property. The 6,000 hectares have not received the quantity of drilling yet that a prolific zone like ours is entitled to.
The Sierra Madres is home to numerous world-class gold projects with plenty of existing infrastructure.
The Sierra Madres themselves have had plenty of exploration and successful mining operations. Los Reyes itself is strongly supported by great infrastructure. There's a strong road network that gets us to Coastla, which is our main base of operations, as well as to the project site itself. Through the project site, running right through the heart of it, is an existing power line. There's also plenty of water, both surface and ground, available to the project for future development. With the number of surface targets, as well as potential underground extensions that are available to us, we are really the first operators that have sole focus on developing this property.
With a resurging stock market, Prime is confident they can stand out with strong resource updates.
Prime currently has 2.2 million gold equivalent ounces, both between gold and silver. And a lot of our proponents feel that we have 3 to 4 million plus ounces. And we view that as not an aspirational, but a realistic exploration target for our team. There's significant potential for resource expansion. We have a 40,000 meter drill program planned for 2024 to build on the 60,000 meter post-resource drill program we had last year.
Some junior miners can struggle from a lack of experience, but Scott Hicks is confident in the professionals on his team.
Prime has a very unique blend of very experienced explorationists, mine finders, mine builders, and capital markets professionals. Most of the senior management team has 20, 30, even 40 years of experience across that range of activities. And most of us herald from such senior companies as Newmont, Teck, Kinross, and IAMGOLD. So we bring a bit of a unique, more senior gold mentality to the junior exploration space.
With an experienced team, a world-class location, and a strong balance sheet, Prime is ready for what lies ahead.
We continue to see the potential to add millions of ounces gold equivalent in high grade. It's a very exciting time at Prime, and 2024 is going to be an even more exciting year than last year. With so much drilling behind us and the financial strength to have a lot of drilling ahead of us, where again we think will help to enable the next doubling of our resource as an exploration target.
Prime Mining believes that sustainability is at the heart of all the success they've accomplished and are continuing to work with local communities. You can follow their social work and drill results at primeminingcorp.ca.
The last time we featured enCore Energy, the company was working to address the critical need for U.S.-sourced uranium, the fuel that powers nuclear energy. Currently, the U.S. relies on imports for 99% of its needs. A lot has happened since then to solidify enCore's status as America's newest producer, and the first uranium producer in Texas in the last 10 years.
2023 was an incredibly transformative period for the company, and that continues into early 2024. We started the year by consummating the Alta Mesa transaction, which was our third in situ recovery plant. There are 4 in Texas. We own 3 of them, fully licensed. We're now putting that one into operation. Later 23, November, we put the Rosita into production. So we're actually a parallel course moving 2 properties towards production at the same time, which is a fairly significant feat. Late in the year, we announced that we're actually turning around and selling a 30% interest in Alta Mesa. In about 10 months, it had gone up in valuation over 75%. So we were able to take in the money we needed from that transaction, and that will help advance our production all across the portfolio of assets we have so that we see more pounds sooner. If we look at late February, early March timeframe, the company's going to have gone from $60 million in debt with no revenue to $70 million in the bank with revenue from one source and imminent revenue from the second one coming on within the next 60 to 120 days.
All of this underscores enCore's belief that the globally recognized in situ uranium recovery process that its team helped develop is the right solution at the right time.
What we have on our side is agility and low cost, the ability to move quickly. The Rosita project we have in South Texas went from amended permit to production in 20 months. You hear of big projects in Africa, several of them in Canada, but they're 7 years away, 8 years away, 9 years away.
enCore is well positioned at the forefront of a dynamic industry, and it intends to stay there.
If you want to look at a business opportunity that's maybe akin to being able to invest in the oil industry in 1920, we're a good investment. Nuclear is in its infancy in terms of widespread acceptance and utilization, and we're at the ground floor with decades of assets, and it's going to be an above-average growth industry for many decades to come.
enCore Energy, now in production, continues to rely on significantly shorter permitting timelines and lower operating costs to provide the necessary fuel for nuclear energy as America's clean energy company.
Coming up on BTV, more investment opportunities you don't want to miss.
We've probably got one of the highest quality discoveries in recent years in a good jurisdiction, which again is supportive of mining and allows for some fairly fast permitting timelines.
We'll be right back. You're watching BTV.
Rick Howes was happily retired until an ex-colleague, David Fennell, executive chairman of Reunion Gold, tried to entice him with a golden opportunity, the chance to get in on the Oko West project that Reunion was developing in the Guiana Shield. Fennell believed in the project from the beginning and wouldn't take no for an answer.
I would say I said no the first maybe 10 or 15 times he called, but eventually he convinced me to take a look, and I flew down to Guyana and went to the property, and certainly everything he spoke about was true about it.
Now Reunion CEO Rick Howes is a true believer.
We've probably got one of the highest quality discoveries in recent years in a good jurisdiction, which again is supportive of mining and allows for some fairly fast permitting timelines. And then that really allows this project to go from discovery to production in the order of 6 years, which is pretty rare. So about 3 years from now, we would expect to be in production.
Don McLean, a senior gold analyst with Paradigm Capital, also sees the immense promise of the Oko Gold project.
You're dealing with a tier 1 discovery in terms of its size. The grade's twice that we would see in your typical large open pit mine. The existing resource that was published in June at 4.3 million ounces at 1.9 grams was excellent, but it only went down to about 600 meters. We've been plotting it and measuring the resource ourselves ever since it started, and we're sitting at about 5.5 million ounces.
As the Oko West resource grows, so does momentum for the project.
There's a lot of news flow now this year, an early part of the year coming out. One will be the release of the final drill results from the Deep Extension Drill Program, followed by our resource estimate update, which will include our very first update of the underground resource potential. And then that will be followed by our PEA, which we anticipate to release in May, which will pretty much give everyone a good idea of what the value proposition is of this particular project.
To Don McLean, the value of Oko West is already undeniable.
It's a very attractive discovery at a time when we don't have that many great discoveries. I think there will be a very interesting M&A chess game take place in 2024, but in the end I suspect it will be a Hollywood issue for investors to pick between competing bids for the company.
The project is one that I would say it ticks all the boxes for anyone who's wanting a major gold producer with a long life ahead. And certainly where the company is trading at today, it's a real opportunity for shareholders to get in at a very cheap price and ride the wave that I think is going to happen.
Development costs for the Oko West project are funded through to construction decision, which is anticipated sometime during Q2 of 2025. A good financial advisor can be instrumental in helping you achieve your goals. But a high net investor has special needs that often only an advisor with special skills can satisfy.
As you move up the wealth curve, as you gain more wealth into your household, the complexity of your wealth picture expands dramatically. A lot of people don't realize this, but the number one cost for an ultra net worth investor is actually taxes, tax frictional costs. So as a wealth advisor that's catering to this particular segment, you have to be really hyper-focused on trying to minimize their annual tax frictional costs. And ultimately, philanthropic planning, estate planning, insurance, investment portfolios, and access to exclusive investment opportunities. It's not an easy niche market to actually serve exceptionally well.
One thing that's apparent from this show is that great opportunities can present themselves anywhere in the world.
And it's a credit to companies that can step up and take advantage.
Thanks for joining us today. For BTV, I'm Jessica Kazachak.
And I'm Taylor Tone. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Business Television for the latest interviews on companies in the markets. And until next time, may your portfolio prosper. Don't forget to join us in Toronto for PDAC 2024 for all things mining, March 3rd to 6th. This is the mining event of the year. Register today at pdac.ca.
The preceding was a paid advertisement brought to you by BTV Business Television.